Alright guys, so we're back here in Rohan 2 on Cross, just grinding, leveling, and exploring the world step by step. And while we're doing that, I want to talk about something important, especially about the play-to-earn system of Rohan 2 inside the Cross ecosystem. Because in my previous Rohan 2 content, we received some interesting comments about play-to-earn games. Like someone said, Classic Anniversary WoW or World of Warcraft has more online players than many crypto MMO play to earn games. And honestly, yes, that's actually true. WoW has been around forever. It has history, nostalgia, a huge player base. So if we're just comparing numbers right now, classic MMOs will always win. But the thing is, I'm not really looking at who has more players today. What I'm actually paying attention to is the system, especially the play to earn structure behind it. Because ever since I was a kid, and I shared this in my previous content, I had this kind of crazy dream, a dream where MMORPGs and real life are not completely separate. I mean, MMOs are not just playing for fun but something deeper, and that's why the second comment is actually interesting. Let me show you that one too. He said play to earn games are destroying the gaming industry, more predatory than typical pay to win. People play to have fun, not to earn. And honestly, I understand that, I really do, because let's be real, a lot of early play to earn games were bad. My first experience was Crypto Blades. I invested my savings and I lost everything. So when people say play to earn can be predatory, I cannot just deny that. There were broken token models, hype cycles, unsustainable system, and if you were not careful, you lose serious money. That part is real. That's why I don't blindly defend the play to earn industry. Well, criticizing bad systems is fair, but saying that every attempt to connect gaming and real world value is automatically destructive, I think that's going too far. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with playing games just for fun. Honestly, that sounds like the best life ever. Imagine a life where you are just logging into an MMOs like Rohan 2, grinding mobs, doing PvP or guild wars, enjoying the world with no pressure. That's so beautiful. I respect that completely. The only issue is when you're playing 24/7 and the only thing you're getting is fun, because eventually reality hits, like bills, food, responsibility. That's where balance usually comes in, right? Like work in real life, play a bit for fun. That's the normal structure, or let's say that's a normal person, and that's fine. But I think here's where I see myself differently, because ever since I was a kid, I already shared this many times, I always had this idea that maybe gaming and real life don't always have to be separated. Not that gaming replaces responsibility, but that they could somehow connect. That's why when I'm here playing a play to earn MMO like Rohan 2 on Cross, I don't just see it as earning from a game. I see it as an early experiment, something still imperfect, still evolving, an attempt to connect in-game effort with real-world value in a more structured way. So yes, it's not fully stable yet, and Rohan 2 is not even the final version of that dream either. I'm literally new here. I'm just leveling, exploring, and observing how the system works. But the direction, that's what interests me. That sense that the design is trying to move somewhere. And again, just to be clear, I don't support play to earn because it's perfect. It's not. I support it because it feels like a baby version of what big MMORPG might become in the future. And I believe I'm not alone in that. Yeah, we even had someone comment when I shared my dream when I was a kid. Like, dude, I'm 37 and still dreaming of that. But honestly, guys, that idea, I believe, is not even new. Like, even before blockchain, MMOs already had this real money trading. Even in WoW, World of Warcraft. Back in the Philippines, I actually had this full-time job farming gold in World of Warcraft. Like, we were trained to run raids efficiently, farm gold, and we were paid based on how much we farm. And back then, we were like a team. Like, we even have a team leader and trainer. So for sure, with the setup that we have, that gold that we were farming was sold for real money to maybe guilds or whales. So play to earn already existed even before the blockchain. It's just that it was not official back then. Now with ecosystem like Cross and MMORPGs like Rohan 2 in their play to earn system, that connection becomes transparent instead of hidden. Again, not perfect but more intentional, and for me that matters because I actually stopped playing MMOs before, like more than a year year, I stopped creating MMO contents. Instead, I focused on working real life, building some mini side hustle, and saving more and more money. And when I was doing that, I kept asking myself why I'm working this hard. And my answer back then was actually very simple, so that one day I could just sit in my computer, play games for fun without worrying about how I'm going to pay bills or even buy food to survive every day. Yeah, basically it's the simple principle of work hard now and play freely later. So that was the plan. But recently my thinking changed. So instead of choosing between real life and gaming, I started imagining a future where they don't have to be separate at all. Not gaming versus life, but gaming integrated with life. And that's why play to earn structures like what Rohan 2 on Cross is experimenting with catch my attention. Again, not because they're perfect, but because they make that childhood dream that I was talking about earlier just a little more possible. I even bought a Meta Quest 3 when it launched because I was excited about VR and mixed reality evolution. You know, like I imagine walking outside with mixed reality glasses, seeing monsters in real space, fighting them. And imagine guys, if the loot drop of each monster actually had real value, like it's something tradable, something useful, that would be insane. And actually I remember seeing something similar years ago in a Pokemon ad. People were wearing AR glasses, walking around in real life, but through their lenses they could see Pokemon everywhere. And when I saw this video, I kept thinking, what if MMORPGs evolve into something like this? Maybe new jobs will appear, like hunters farming materials, or maybe crafters producing items, or maybe like NPC selling potions, or traders running player-driven economies. So this is what I'm trying to say, MMORPG and real life becoming as one. And I believe technologies like blockchain and play-to-earn system will be the tools that we will need in the future that will help connect the world to real life value. Like a full ecosystem where digital and physical life start overlapping. Okay, so maybe that sounds crazy, but that's why play-to-earn MMOs just like Rohan 2 on Cross matter to me. Not because they're already the final form of MMOs, but because I believe they're part of the evolution. Yeah, well, back to classic MMOs. I hope you don't misunderstand me. I still like classic MMOs until now. They are completely different to what we have right now, and they gave us unforgettable memories. But I think if we keep looking back, we won't be able to move forward. And gaming has always evolved, and I know many play-to-earn MMOs are still in their early stages, like Rohan 2 is still evolving too. And if gaming and real life are ever going to connect in a meaningful way, then systems like this are part of that direction. So while we're grinding here in Rohan 2 on Cross, I'm not here to hype anything. I'm not here to make big promises. I'm just observing, watching how this direction grows. Maybe one day the dream we had since we were kids won't feel so impossible anymore. Alright, so guys, thank you very much for staying with me through this conversation while we are grinding here in Rohan 2 on Cross. So whether you agree or disagree, I appreciate you being part of this journey. We'll keep exploring, we'll keep learning, and we'll keep seeing where this MMO evolution take us. And as always guys, whatever games you're playing right now, happy gaming. Alright?